Owning your own personal business is going to be single-handedly the most important thing that makes you financially free in this world. So my name's Chris. Welcome to my channel. This is completely devoted to business and finance. I'm a complete nerd when it comes to this stuff, and what I want to help you guys do is just show you my journey of what a normal person can do with a small business to kind of find financial freedom. And I'm going to give you the step-by-step process and how I did it. And again, this is just my journey. I'm not telling you what like your exact journey should look like, but I think if you take each of these steps, like if you take them into account and actually do them, you can do this just like I did. I'm just sharing my experience. So step number one, is what you need to do is you need to figure out a way to quit your 9 to 5 job. And what I would do is, first of all, become extremely frugal. The two biggest financial mistakes a lot of Americans are making right now is with vehicles in homes. So what I would advise you to do is first pay off all your debt. I know it's easier said than done, but just figure out a way to find a lot of income and pay that off. Maybe not student loans, but everything else. So we want no debt. And then what you want to do is get a cheap vehicle. We want a vehicle that doesn't have a monthly payment with interest on it. Especially if you have a new vehicle, get rid of it. The goal here is to live as frugal as possible, and also your housing. Try to find extremely low cost housing. And if you've already passed all this and you have a small business, this is probably past you guys. But this is going to enable you to quit your job, your 9 to 5 job that you probably hate, and then start a small business. So we're debt free. We have a no car payment. We're also going to save a ton of money on car insurance because you can do liability only and save a ton of money. And then you have cheap housing. So now what we want to do here is go to your 9 to 5 job and just do your 9 to 5 job. And this is the secret sauce. When you're off of your 9 to 5 job is when your day actually begins. So if you can, try to save some of that energy at your 9 to 5 job. I'm not saying that you need to do like the whole quiet quitting thing, but then once you're off, figure out a way to start grinding on a side income, and what you need to do is go into a niche where you are passionate about it. We need passion and then also the ability to make money. For me, it was becoming a content creator, like I really enjoyed video. So it was just like, man, I need to figure out how I'm going to utilize video to be able to, turn video, my somewhat of a passion, to turn it into money. So what I did was I started doing side jobs and it started working. And then you get the affirmation that you can do this and it can be done. And then slowly what you do is you start scaling all of this, right? And then, if you could do this thing and make money once, you can do that thing 10 times and just kind of double down on it. And then after maybe after a couple months goes by, 6 months, what the goal here is to figure out how much money you can live on. And then if you can make that with your side income and that's all you need, then once that day comes, you need to go all in and become hungry with it, right? And I know the people around you are going to be scared and nervous, but starting a small business is the fastest way to financial freedom. I'm completely convinced, because this whole 9 to 5 lifestyle is not it. And you just get in this hamster wheel. Your jobs make you completely exhausted. They just steal all the bandwidth out of you. And you're going to realize this once you escape the 9 to 5. And then once you kind of just get out on doing your own thing, a lot of people overcomplicate this. They think oh, I need to get a fancy LLC. I need to get a trademark. You don't need to do any of that stuff. That's a huge misconception. You can literally go on the IRS website and create an EIN in 15 minutes and you're off to the races. And that's all you need. You're now a sole proprietor. If you need insurance, a lot of people think they need that. Chances are you can work for a year or two without insurance. I don't even have insurance. So it's just as a content creator, I don't really feel like I need it. How is someone going to sue me through a video? It kind of depends on what your small business is going to do. That's probably something to think about. But my goal, what I'm trying to portray here is that it's so much simpler than a lot of people make it out to be. And if you're overcomplicating it, because most people are with an LLC and all this branding and websites, you don't need any of that crap. You need a social, maybe, like you just need to figure out what it takes to sell your service or like whatever your small business is. Chances are you want to go into something with like something you can leverage at not a lot of money. I was kind of lucky because being a content creator, it's one of the easiest things. I used the iPhone camera for years, and it's just like that's all the money I had to input into it. Like find something you can leverage that's pretty simple, but also look at the big picture of things. Is this something that can like expand into a full business scale? My ex-wife was talking to me about the idea of starting a business as cleaning homes, and it's just like I feel like you're not going to make a ton of money cleaning people's homes, and it's just, you know, try to be smart with what people forecasting towards the future where money might be. Like tech and stuff is obviously going to be easier to make money. But yeah, you almost have to go with what's you're also passionate about. All right, I'm going to move on past this. But the secret sauce here is that once you get going with your small business, financially, you start figuring out tax advantages because you're going to have to learn small business taxation and stuff like that, and business expenses and deductions. Like you could be paying a lot of your personal stuff with business expenses. For example, if you had like a truck, if you know the IRS tax code on paying a truck, you could have a percentage of that as your company vehicle, or maybe you buy a truck to go 100% in as just a business vehicle. The business now takes its tax-free money and then essentially pays for that truck payment as a business expense. If you're using that truck, there's so many different ways you can skin the cat, but once you start learning small business finance and deductions and expenses and write-offs and stuff like that, it's so huge. And then also just dumping money into 401ks, HSAs, IRAs. There's just a lot to be done. And plus, there's the fact that you're absolutely free from the 9 to 5 slave rat race game. Like it was just perpetually exhausting for me. It kind of depends what space you're in. I worked everything, like crappy blue collar jobs like warehouse workers, delivery drivers, machine shops. I'm trying to think. Oh, I worked the graveyard shift at like this bus factory. And the graveyard shift, terrible on your body. And like studies show now that like working crappy hours is actually extremely detrimental to your health and your body. And we're finding this out as we go. The goal here is to just kind of escape the 9 to 5 rat race, become financially free with a small business, and become an independent contractor, just however you want to do it. I feel like I'm living the dream life, and that's why I'm trying to like scream this to the world right now, that like owning your own small business is such a game changer, and it also equates to financial freedom and just freedom in general. Because once you start living more frugal and understanding taxes and how money works with small business, the world's going to open up to you. My anxiety levels are extremely down. I wake up, I just get to do whatever I want. My schedule's wide open. It's free. I mean, obviously I have to work because it's still a job. You know what I mean? Like, and expect anxiety for the first like year, because you're going to wake up and be like, oh my God, I run my own business. And it's just like, you're going to have naysayers, parents in your life that are going to be like, hey man, you shouldn't be doing this. It's risky. Everyone's just kind of like trained to think we need this 9 to 5 lifestyle when we absolutely don't. And like you can get insurance on your own. A lot of times insurance is crappy at your 9 to 5 rat race job anyways. All right, guys. So starting a small business is the actual best way to financial freedom, in my honest opinion, and I'm living it. So I'm just sharing my personal experience here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel here. It's completely devoted to business and finance. I'm in love with this stuff now. And let's go along this journey together. I guess without further ado, make sure to subscribe. Hit me up in the comments as well. I'm just a normal person. I guess I'll see you guys out later.